Hi.
Hi and welcome.
Welcome. I'm Bianca.
I'm Grant.
And today we're going to take you through a tour of our van.
Our home. So we're doing something a bit different today. You've seen us, but you haven't really seen our van. So we thought we'd give you a bit of a peek.
So what van do we have?
2003 Bushtracker.
So there's no model. So Bushtracker don't do models at all. Everything that Bushtracker do is custom. It's just a 2003 Bushtracker. There's no model attached. We were really lucky when we purchased ours.
Understatement of the year.
Super lucky. So we bought it in September 2020. Second hand, obviously. Third hand, actually. From this nice little old man in Batlow in New South Wales. He had it for,
I think he's at 7
years.
Yeah.
And he had purchased it from obviously the original owner who had it before that, used it maybe like, I'm not sure, but only for a couple of months, and then ended up leaving it in Townsville at the caravan park because he'd had a split with his wife. So this van hasn't actually been used very often. So he scored this amazing deal on this van because the original owners actually were probably Grant's height.
So the bloke that had it made for him was probably a tall bugger like myself, and got the additional 2 inches on the roof. I was looking for about 18 months almost.
Yeah, we were looking for a while as to what was the perfect van for us.
I was on caravan sales like every day, compulsively just going through checking things, and my father-in-law bought a Bushtracker, so I thought, I'll have a look at them. And every Bushtracker that was on caravan sales were all the standard layout. Standard layout meaning rear door, front island bed, and everything. Because it's an island bed, you lose space in the main living cabin. So the couches are smaller, they're shorter. This one's huge. You know, we had 5, 6 people?
Yeah, we can fit 6 people around this. I know on camera it doesn't look massive, but we kind of squish ourselves towards the table. But if we were to sit as far back into the couch, go sit back. There's like we can't even touch. So it's quite big. Quite big, but so yeah, we scored the deal of the century with this to fit Grant in it. The bed is larger, the bench tops are taller, the roof is taller, and then the bathroom area is actually wider than normal standard as well. So it fits Grant's size in here quite well. So for those who don't know, Grant is 6'7". So I'll show you through.
No, I don't play basketball, don't ask. So I couldn't find this sort of layout in any other make, any other manufacturer.
No.
So we came close. GB had a 2000 Scorpion that had a similar layout, but it was a shorter van. Nowhere near as much storage, and you know, it still had an island bed, but it had a similar bench layout. Anyway, so that was the closest we came to. Everything else just fell short. So
the reason we don't love the island bed for Grant's height is most of them come as a queen width and a double length. So if we got a double length, Grant, like half of Grant's legs would fall off the end of the bed. So our bed in here is between a king and a queen. So
plenty of room for me.
Has heaps of room in there for us and the dogs.
And the long bed is not encroaching on the living space. So you're not walking in the door into the bed. The bed's east to west, we'll show you in a sec, and it's out of the way. It's tops.
Yeah.
We love our van.
So we'll take you on a little tour through the van, and then we'll sit down and talk about what we've changed, and then what we would still like to change or we don't really like about the van. Okay, so as you walk into our van, we have our our bed, east-west bed, which is between a queen and a king width and a king length bed. Behind us we have our TV on the wall. We have storage at the back here that we keep our extra bedding. We have storage underneath, which we'll lift the bed up and show you. And then we have some drawers under here where Grant keeps all of his clothes. We then have our dining table here, which at night time we fold down. So this becomes the bed for the dogs to sleep on. We have some storage above here, which has nothing special up there, just some boxes with like games and bits and pieces in there. On this side we have storage all along the bottom, the drawers, so that has my clothes and some knickknacks. You know, that drawer that you got to keep everything in. Very messy, and everything just gets shoved into that drawer. Up the top we have stuff for other random stuff gets shoved up there, and dog stuff. Through the middle we've got our medicine cabinet. Up the top here, our microwave, and we have a wardrobe in here, which is also, looks like it's a big mess in there at the moment, but that's where we hang our jackets. This is the dog's food, and then our dirty laundry goes down the bottom there. We also have brooms and bits and pieces in that cabinet. And the end of the caravan is our kitchen area. We'll go into more detail in another video, what do we actually keep in the kitchen, but this is our kitchen area. So we have a full stove, oven, grill, and a stovetop. We haven't used the grill, but we do use the oven. It's not exactly the same as a normal oven because everything takes so much longer to cook, but we can cook anything we need in there. We have down the bottom is some more storage. We've got milk and then some pots and pans. Down there in this cupboard is our storage of coffee machine, and our food is all in these tubs. In here, up the top, is our kind of like pantry? No.
Yeah. Pantry part 2.
Pantry part 2, so, you know, flour, rice, anything that needs to be in a container, really. And then over here we have coffee, tea, spreads, oils, salt and pepper and that type of stuff. Our hot water heater. Up here we have our all of our plates, cups, and then collapsible bowls and storage containers, like Tupperware style. We got a sink, we have a filter tap and then a normal tap on here, and our bin is over here in the corner. It's just a little 10-litre bin. It's like a composting bin that we got from Bunnings. That is our bin. Down the bottom here, you can see these cupboards are not super tidy, but that's all of our random cleaning stuff. And then in our drawers we have cutlery and spices. Our second drawer is more spices and cooking utensils. And now down this cupboard is just how we get to our filters and change our water tanks. So behind this white door is our bathroom. So I'll jump in here for scale for you. So it's quite reasonably large for a combined bathroom. We have up here a very big vanity cabinet, which has mine and Grant's stuff, towels, toilet paper, everything in here, and another little cavity down the bottom for all toilet chemicals and bits and pieces. We have added in here all of these Fusion Lock canisters. So that's a soap one. We've got one for our toothbrushes, toothbrushes, toothpaste, hand towels, all of these towel racks we've added in, and they're all Fusion Lock ones, which are just suction caps, and you can put them wherever you want. The hooks, and we've changed in here is the shower. So when we bought the van, I'll probably put a insert photo of what we originally had, which was one tap and the shower connected and the tap connected to the one thing, and you had to toggle between the both, but you didn't know which one was which, so you could be turning on the shower and you just want to wash your hands, which isn't ideal. So we've changed that, so we now have a separate knob down here to turn the shower on. Then we have our fridge area, so more storage above and below, and then freezer, fridge. It's quite full at the moment of all of our bits and pieces that we have in there.
Okay, so just the driver's side of the tunnel boot. It's a bit of a mess, but it's where all the power tools go for the time being. Extra bits and bobs, electrical box, and more importantly, my fishing rods. The other things we added is the storage hooks to carry the fishing rods and the pole saw and things like that, and an LED light. That's about it. So everything else in there is just a bit of a mess. The water is in there too, so for me to fill up the tanks, we don't actually use these. They don't work. They're not connected to anything. I've continued using the method that the old owner had. It's not necessarily easier or harder, it's just different. And it looks like a lot of puffing around, but it works for us, and I'll just keep on doing it for the time being, at least anyway. Things I added, a little hook, an eye. Doors that don't close on you. It's awesome. So yeah, that's really all there is to this side of the van. Okay, and this is where we've added the outdoor kitchen. That's the gas. The water's all connected. We have the sink, the stove, a little bit messy.
Did you clean it?
A little bit of a drawer, bits and bobs. It's fairly compact. It's not particularly light, but it does the job, and we love cooking outside. There's an additional bench. Which, hey, come on. Over there. Yeah, this is the extra little bench to put your meat and whatnot when you're cooking. That's the setup. So we love cooking outside. We needed something that we could cook on. It sort of fit the bill.
Yeah. Beautiful. And the gas connects just up here, which we added the gas as well. Anyway, good.
Okay, so the things we've changed in our van since we bought it. So it was a 2003, remember?
Yeah.
It's pretty low tech. Everything's fairly old, as it was bought in 2020. We needed to update it. We needed to do some things to make it a bit more modern, a bit more livable, a bit more comfortable, a bit more efficient. Things we've done, first and foremost, is probably the TV. TV was...
Oh, basically analog.
So
It was not even digital.
So what do we buy?
And very heavy.
Very heavy.
Really heavy.
Yeah.
Like the arm that it's on,
Didn't quite cover it.
the strut didn't even hold it. You'd open it and just fall. So we just got a TV from Kogan.
Yeah.
A smart TV, I think it was about $200. Delivered, does its job. It's got Netflix,
Yeah.
Prime, and YouTube on there on the remote that you can just go to. So updated the TV.
Updated the TV.
Yep.
And to run to TV, we've changed the battery setup. So originally it had 4 AGM batteries.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm assuming probably 100-hour AGMs. They're super heavy, guys. Like, if you've got the money and if you're going to invest in traveling full time, lithium, to me, it's sort of a no-brainer. It saves you actually a lot of weight. So we've got basically the same amount of power now, don't we? So,
Yeah, we got 400 amp hours.
but we have all of the 400 amp hours. So the AGMs, you can only use a certain percentage of
Yeah.
the capacity. Lithium, you can use all of it. It charges better, it's lighter,
It takes up less space.
takes up less space.
Yeah.
So where I'm sitting right now is where the powerhouse is, which contains the inverter, the batteries, the BC and the DC chargers.
Yeah, solar controller.
We went with the EnerDrive. It's sort of a no-brainer again. They're sort of the leaders in the industry at the moment.
Yeah.
And they do a really good package, and their customer service is tops.
Yeah.
So we spoke to one of the sales reps in Sydney or the New South Wales area, and they just hooked us up.
Yeah, just gave us the guidance as what we needed for what we wanted to do. But it's also given us, I mean, changing the batteries over has given us more payload, but also given us more space. So underneath, we had all the batteries. So we had on this side, there was 3 batteries. The old inverter, the old DC charger took up the whole section underneath. And then we had another battery on this side, which took up all of this side.
And a subwoofer.
And a subwoofer, which I don't know why that was there. So
Bushtracker party house.
when we upgraded all the batteries, we've taken out the subwoofer, we've taken out the battery on my side of the couch, and on Grant's side of the couch, we took out everything and replaced it. We now have room for a tub underneath as well as the new batteries to house all our shoes. And we have room over this side for a wine cellar, which currently is empty.
Yeah. So I can't help but laugh that we have a wine cellar in our van. We don't actually have wine in said cellar, but it's a space to put all of our booze. So when we moved out of our house, we had a lot of booze. And we had delusions of grandeur, thinking we're going to have all this booze on board. Well, we did that, and then we took it over the weighbridge and went, that booze has got to go. So once we set off, we set to work going through the wine cellar. So we don't have any alcohol left in there, really. We have like a bottle of Cointreau.
Yeah, it's like one bottle in there. But we have the capacity here, the space there, if we want to, you know, buy anything or stock up, we've got room to put it and store it. What else we've upgraded is our lights. So we changed all of our lights over from fluoro to LED.
Mm-hmm.
So
Much more
obviously
efficient, much brighter.
save more power there as well. We've added the 2 Sirocco fans, so we just have
A must, another must.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure. Bianca loves, she can't deal with stagnant air, so you can't always open a window because if it's, really blowy outside, you can just turn the Siroccos on and she's sweet.
Yeah.
USB ports.
Yep, we added 2 lots of USB ports because in 2003 when this was built, they didn't have any. So we've got a cigarette lighter and USB ports added. One is next to the bed so we can charge our phones, and the other one is over here on the bench just to charge like the GoPro and everything else. Oh, added all the Fusion lock.
Fusion locks, man.
Highly recommend them.
So there are other people traveling around that we got this tip from. And why wouldn't you? They are the best thing for the caravan industry. If you want a hook, if you want a basket for storage, if you want a towel rack, there's no drilling holes, and that gives me the heebie-jeebs. Putting a screw in somewhere that I don't know what's behind it. These Fusion locks are suction, and they suck.
Yeah, they're really good, and you don't want to put something in the wrong spot and then have to re-drill another hole, and you get like a hole left in the van. So
it's holding her never-ending handbag.
Her handbag, up there for a jacket.
For caravanning, absolutely tops.
Yeah.
They take the vibrations of corrugations as well.
Yeah, definitely.
They're really, really, really awesome.
Really good. So we've changed our table. So when we purchased this also in 2003, they didn't have the collapsing mechanisms on tables, and it was just a solid pole and it could just turn like this. So we've now changed the mechanism over so it can lower down, and this lounge area can convert to a double bed, or we just lower it down above the cushions and strap it just for the dogs to sleep at night, because I'm a bit lazy and I don't want to pull all the cushions out every night.
And we're not sharing our bed at night. They take up so much room.
Yep, they're not little. We also added in water gauges for our tanks.
So water gauges are something that aren't ever really 100% accurate. So I just wanted to guide mine. I wanted something to sort of tell me, there's water in that tank, or you've run out. I don't need to know exact literage or a flow meter or anything like that. I'm not interested. So we just put some fairly rudimentary level gauges.
Yeah. Just up here.
Yeah.
So in the bathroom, we added the taps and the shower. Changed the taps in the shower over. We added the access hole in the bottom underneath the sink. One, we needed it so we could actually change the taps and the shower over because you couldn't get in there. And then now we have some extra storage that was being wasted. And we added all the Fusion lock towel rails and the, toothbrush holder. I keep saying toilet brush. Toothbrush holders.
Because you've got a potty mouth,
etc. On the outside.
On the outside is my domain. So outside, again, the outside of the Bushtracker kind of looks like a bit of an old shed, but in a good way, because it's very robust and it's a Bushtracker when you have a look at it. But the things that we did were the tunnel boot, right? So the tunnel boot didn't have any lights, so we just put a couple of LED lights in there when we had the LED lights put inside. We added a slide out kitchen, so that's a bit of extra weight. We found this old, it wasn't old, it was out of a newer Bushtracker from a champion up in Brisbane, and we got this slide out kitchen. Yeah. Hook the water up to it, and when we do use it, it's awesome. We also had, I needed somewhere to put my fishing rods. I don't have a dual cab or a truck, so I had to put them in the tunnel boot. So they're hanging up nice and tidy out of the way. We changed the outdoor shower at the back. So it was very, very old. you open the port and it had this rusty old hose and little taps inside. Now, you open the cover and you plug the hose in and you turn it around to the temperature that you want, and then you press the trigger on the head. It's newer. I think all the new vans have them now.
Yeah.
Mate, awesome. So if we want to give the dogs a shower,
Outside, yep. If
Tops.
wash anything out, yep.
The front of the van, there was no toolbox. So when we bought it, on the A-frame, all we had was a 5 or 6 jerry can holder. I was never going to use that, so I cut it off. I had a bloke in Sydney build me a nice big toolbox with a jerry can holder on either side. That's plenty for us.
Yep.
And all the shocks, the hoses, the silage, extension leads, a few tools, that all lives out there, out of the way, so it doesn't matter if it gets dirty in there. I don't want to go dirtying the tunnel boot too much if we can help it. Stone guards, the stone guard at the front just needed to be replaced, so we just had that redone with more cloth.
Yeah.
Stabilizer legs, so at the back, Bushtracker didn't really do stabilizer legs for some reason. So we had Abco put them on for us, but they only put them on the back, persuaded us not to put them at the front for some reason.
Sure.
They reckon they were adamant that we didn't need it, but I'll tell you what I do and do not need because we do need them. So we'll probably put them on at some point, but we just sort of ran out of money at that point. A good hydraulic jockey stand is what we also got for the front. So it was just the old winder wheel. Well, why do you need a wheel on something this big? You're not going to move it.
You can't push it.
You can't push it with the jockey wheel. And the jockey wheel had a big old flat in the bottom anyway, so we got a hydraulic stand. It has a better range to actually lift the tow ball onto the back of the car. And it's been working really, really good for us too. Next thing we got was the grey water tank. So we're going places like we are now. We don't want to be just dropping our grey water anywhere willy-nilly. So we put one on. It was an 80 litre.
I think so.
An 80 litre.
Yeah.
So we have 4 water tanks on board, as we mentioned earlier. But having the grey water tank just helps just that little bit.
Yeah.
And the last thing that we did actually put on was a wire tie system. So if we're going to be heading off with our rooftop tent somewhere bush and rugged for a little while and leaving the bush somewhere, we want to make sure that, look, at the end of the day, if someone really wants to steal it, they're going to steal it.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what insurance is for. But you can at least make it hard for the mongrels, So we've got locks for virtually everything. If they try to bust in anywhere, the alarm's going off, the brakes are going on. It's hard to get into it to disarm it. They're sort of a must-have, I would say, for any and all caravans these days.
Yeah.
Because there are the scumbags around that'll try and take your hard-earned home, or break in and steal your belongings. So as long as you're smart and you do everything you can do to prevent that from happening, or at least make it hard for the mongrels, then that's what it's all about. So they can't be just towing it away easily because the brakes will lock on. So that's why we got that.
And sorry, the last thing that we actually got is also the safety day.
Safety day of cameras. So you don't, with a big old Taj Mahal on the back of the car, you can't see what's behind you, even with clear views or towing mirrors, which is what we have. We can't see exactly what's behind me, and I don't want to be a hindrance on the road if I can help it. If I know that someone's behind me, I'll try and move over and let them pass. particularly trucks because they've got a job to do. But so now I can see them. You know, if they come up close enough, I'll know that they're there, and I'll either signal them to go around me, or I'll make sure that I don't do what everyone else seems to do at overtaking lanes and speed up. I'll slow down and let everyone go right past me because I know they're there. Also, backing into the spaces, I know when to stop.
Yeah.
So they are.
I can also signal Grant if I'm in the right spot and he can see me on the camera.
Well, she can just say stop because there's a microphone on there as well. So I just need to turn the volume up, and it's all good.
So what are the specs of our van and what did we buy it for?
So for us, there's a lifestyle van and just a travelling van. For us, it's lifestyle. The difference between the two is travelling, you're just going to go on holidays. You're not going to carry as much stuff. You don't need it to be quite as off-grid or robust or whatever. So for us, we do travel a lot. We're carrying a lot of stuff because we do need more things than what you would just for a small holiday. So saying that being said, we need more power. That's where we'll start. So the power, we have 4 120 watt solar panels. Mind you, they're quite old.
Yes.
We're thinking about potentially upgrading those and taking a bit of weight, as the new ones are quite light, but they're just as efficient or more so. More efficient. We have the ability to take, or the capacity to carry 360 litres of water on board.
Yeah, so we've got 4 80-litre water tanks. So one of them is connected to a filter for drinking water and connected to the filter tap at the sink, and the other 3 are connected to the bathroom and the other tap. Generally speaking, we don't use the filtered water tank at all. We've not filled it up, and we usually don't carry more than 2 tanks of water with us.
We just don't need it, but if we plan that we're going somewhere that just doesn't have any water, well,
and we were going to be there for days, and we won't be able to get anything, we would fill it up. But generally we don't, because we don't need the water and we don't want to carry that extra weight for no reason.
No.
The batteries. So we do have the Enerdrive lithium batteries.
Yeah.
So we got 4, not 4, we've got 2 200 amp hour lithium batteries, and we have a 2000 watt inverter.
And that seems to do the trick. All we just need to run is the coffee machine in the morning and TV, and that's about it.
To be honest, it's probably a little bit of an overkill for the appliances that we run. So we have the coffee machine. Occasionally we'd use the microwave just to heat something up, but I don't cook in the microwave.
Cut.
I might let him in, put him on bed.
Hey, stop barking. We also have a 40 amp solar. Well, we have 40 amp AC and DC chargers.
Yeah.
Which seems to do the trick.
Yeah. And the 40 amp solar controller.
Yeah.
So as mentioned before, we think we will have to upgrade our solar panels. So we do have quite a bit of battery power and the inverter to do us, but once I'm charging the laptop, or if I need to spend a whole day editing and running the fridge and all the bits and pieces, we can get the battery quite low. And at least once every 8 days or something, we're going to have to go onto power and recharge it, because the power that's coming through our current solar panels that are from 2003 is not enough to charge plus renew what we're already using. So it doesn't actually top the battery up to 100% again. So we will need to upgrade our solar panels there.
with weights, we'll move on to the next thing, which I think is one of the reasons why we went with Bushtracker, because Bushtracker are one of the makers that make a very, very strong, robust van, over-engineered. The trade-off there is that being extra strong and over-engineered, they can be quite hefty. But having said that, the payload is usually quite high.
Yeah.
There are other brands, not naming them, that we looked at. By the time you put water in the tanks and all your crap in it, you really didn't have much left at all.
No.
And to me, that's sort of a trademark of a holiday van. Lifestyle vans will have a bigger payload, in my opinion. So this is the latter, and we have a GVM of 3.5. We do have just under a ton of payload. But you have to sort of take that with a bit of grain of salt. So with all the extras or appliances that each appliance, you have to subtract that weight from your payload, essentially. We've added a few things, so we don't have quite the ton. So
no. Well, that would be with an empty van.
That was with an empty van.
So as
We've
soon
never
as
weighed it empty.
as soon as you add your batteries and the kitchen and anything, the toolbox, your spare tires, like your diesel, your gas bottles, as soon as you're adding anything that comes out of your payload straight away. So we're not exactly 100% sure how much payload, because we never weighed it when it was empty. So before we left, we chucked it over the weigh bridge to get it weighed, and we had 20 kilos left to spare. That was with all 4 water tanks full. Everything stocked, all the food, the wine cellar completely full, and anything that we thought we might want.
And more.
Yeah, and more. And then we brought it back home before we left, stripped out some stuff, knowing that, we didn't need those things anymore. So we stripped them out and then quickly drank through the wine cellar. And
did a good job of that.
Reduced some of the water tanks. Like we emptied the water tanks back down to the 2 that we want to carry, and we're about probably like nearly 200 kilos under the payload when we're just traveling normally.
Yeah. So we made every effort to ensure that we were safe and we're under the limits.
You're probably wondering, like, how much did we pay? How much did a rig like this set us back? So this is an old model, so it's a 2003. We did get it third hand, so we didn't go off and buy a brand new Bushtracker for about 160,000. We cannot afford that.
Good on you if you can.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
I don't know too many people who can go out and afford that. We can't. So basically, we paid 48,000 for this van when we purchased it, and we probably spent about 20,000 putting through all the upgrades, including the batteries, which is the biggest expense, to get this to where it is.
Yeah.
Definitely worthwhile. And what we were thinking about was, when we spent that money, was we could have gone into a showroom and purchased a van for about, so we spent 68,000 in total. So we could have gone into a showroom and purchased a van for 68,000, and then still probably wanted to upgrade to lithium batteries, still probably wanted to add an external kitchen, still would have wanted to add in Sirocco fans, and other things. So we would have been spending 78, maybe 85,000, and still spending another 10,000 on top of whatever we purchased for the van. And when it came down to it, we were like, Bushtracker is such a good, hardy van to purchase that will do what we need it to do.
And then some.
The layout absolutely suited us
Yeah.
to a T. If we went into a showroom, we would have had to pay extra to get the roof extended so Grant could actually fit into a caravan, because there's not very many caravan manufacturers that Grant can stand up in a stock standard van.
There was a few makers that were quite keen to cater for us. Like, okay, you tell us what you want and we'll make it.
Yeah.
All right, sweet. But what was that going to cost me?
Yeah.
So, which if we were in the market, we had the money, I'm pretty certain that we would have gone ahead with that. You know, there was one maker in particular that we were really quite impressed with, and they were awesome. Like the sales guys were like, "You tell me what you want, and we'll make it happen."
Yeah.
And they were going to do virtually everything that we wanted
to
do.
And we walked around and looked at, I don't even know how many different types of vans and manufacturers that we looked. And we looked from like a 12-foot van. We looked
I still laugh at that, hey.
We looked at a hybrid. We looked at island beds, east to west beds.
She was dead set adamant that the 12-footer was going to be
everything. And then we came across this one on Caravan Sales, and it was just perfect, and we fell in love, and the price was right and did that for us. So, you know, don't discount a second-hand van or a third-hand van.
There's a lot on the market.
If you come across something, because you can do the upgrades, and it will cost you, you know, the same amount or cheaper than just getting something that's new, and it will give you everything that you need.
Particularly if you're handy.
Yeah.
You know, if you're pretty good on the tools, you know what you're doing, or you've done it before, you can absolutely outfit an older rig with all the mod cons. So, and you probably save a fair bit of coin too doing it.
Well, you don't have to pay for labour for someone else, so that'd save you a bit of money.
Yeah. So now that we've sort of gone through that, we really do love our van. But what are the main things that we really love about the van?
I mean, layout is just the first thing. The number one, like...
Any other layout probably wouldn't do it, so I don't think.
No, it's just perfect for Grant's height. This van was just perfect for us. So the east to west bed works very well for us, except it is a pain in the ass to make that bed. I get the sweats up when I'm making it, change the sheets and everything. Like,
you know how there's like the pictures of ghosts that are like bed sheets with eyes cut out? They're people that have died changing an east to west bed, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
The spirits of people that died.
It's not super
easy.
fun.
It's not easy.
But that having the bed just up there out of the way makes up for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then having the rest of the living space that we have completely makes up for it. You know, everything in this van was kind of made for a tall person, which is just perfect for us. Grant really loves the fact that we have a dual axle.
They're just so much more stable on the road. They're stable while you're camping. They do increase your payload capacity, generally speaking.
Yeah.
Okay, there's 4 extra tyres you have to pay for if they blow or they need replacing. How often does that really happen? Probably not that often.
Hopefully.
That's right. Really, that's the way to go for us, because the dual axle means that you can have a longer van. It means you can have more space. It means you can have a better layout. It means you can carry more gear, generally speaking. That's why I like them. What
else we love is payload, the amount of stuff that we can carry with us. Because we are basically living in this van full time for as long as we can. You know, we wanted to make sure that we have summer clothes and winter clothes and fishing gear for when we go to the, you know, anywhere that we can fish, and Grant can try to fish, try to catch. Carry with us the tools and bits and pieces that we would need, all the stuff for the dogs, everything. And we didn't want to be, you know, we love cooking and that type of stuff as well. We didn't want to be going, oh, well, I can just take one saucepan and that's it, and I just need to use that one saucepan for everything. We wanted to have the ability to...
We can take our taco press and
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, not worry about it.
Have those other things in there. So with the payload is the storage, and this has so much storage as well, so many different storage options,
days. Yeah.
so that we can have everything away when we're living in the space, and you know, when we're packed up, everything has a place to go in, which is great. And the other favourite is the diesel heater.
Oh, has she earned her money or her worth?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, the van came with the diesel heater, so we didn't add it in.
No, but definitely have one. Mate, they are gold. Well, it only really needs one cold night for it to pay itself off, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Sure.
It is very highly recommended diesel heater. What don't we love, or what do we want to change?
Okay, so when we're talking about the payload, it does have a drawback. The weight's also a negative, I've got to say. The old fuel economy on the 200 isn't great. I'm not complaining about it because, look, you're not going to tow something this big and get away with great economy. It's just the nature of the beast, so suck it up. But it is a negative, so we just try to drive smart. If it's windy, we don't drive. If it's...
Unless we have to.
Unless we absolutely have to.
Yeah.
And we try to slow down our travel too, so we don't do huge driving days.
Yeah, we don't. We drive for a couple of hours every couple of days.
Yeah.
So we try to also conserve fuel and stay longer in places and travel slower so we can get to enjoy the place.
Yeah.
And then we don't spend as much on fuel every week.
Yeah. The other thing I don't like really is the tunnel boot doors. They're too short. So the newer models, the doors exceed the wade line, which is where the checker plate ends and the panelling begins. So they go above that, and it's far easier to access the tunnel boot.
Yeah.
I've got to do a bit of acrobatics to get in there, but
to get stuff in and out.
I mean, I could change it, but it's like $4,000 to change it and do it properly. So I'm like, that's not something I need to worry about, right? I'll just sit here and whinge about it. The water fill point, so this isn't a Bushtracker thing. It's the previous owner did it because they thought that it was just better. I disagree. I just haven't really been bothered to change it. It does work, like it's not super convenient. There's no town water bypass on it. It's an older van. So if we pull up to a powered site, we're there for a week. Well, it just means that I've got to fill the tanks manually when they run out. So I'll fill them all up when I get there, and I'll top them up when we leave. The spare tyre access. So this is, again, kind of my fault. So at the front of the van, there's two sort of posts that just hold the spares out from the body of the van. The spares, they're on an offset, whereas the other tyres aren't. They stick out further than they need to. And I put the toolbox right in front of them at the moment, and it will change. I'll make it better. We sort of ran out of money to get out of Sydney, so I put it on the back burner to do later. And we had a flat on the way to Cadney. So I had to empty the toolbox, undo the fastening bolts, and slide the box forward to gain access to the spares.
Yeah.
It's not that big of a deal. It's a bit of a hindrance, but hey, it's something that I will change and make better.
Yeah, just like an extra half an hour worth of work to get it done. But Bushtracker do make a cage for the spare tyres.
So you can just sort of roll them on, lock them in.
Yeah, which we could purchase, but they're $950 each.
Yeah.
And we're not spending another $2,000 just to get the spare tyres on and off.
If we change the offset, I probably won't even need to move the toolbox.
Which we do need to do anyways to change the
Correct.
to
track.
make sure everything's the same of the
Yeah.
6 tyres that we have for the caravan. We also want to add front stabiliser legs,
Yeah. Definitely
which
do
we mentioned before. We got them added onto the back, and we did originally ask for them to put them on the front as well, but they decided they didn't want to do that. And so now we have little, jockey stand things.
Yeah,
Stands that we use, which
Yeah.
are not ideal, but eventually we'll get
Jack
that
stand,
changed. We're also going to change our solar panels because they're not drawing enough from the sun because they're old.
Yeah, it's kind of it. Again, we love our van and we've done a lot of work to it. I think it sort of just proves that you don't necessarily need a lot of money to get out and see the country. Like you can,
Yeah.
you don't have to sell a house and buy the newest, biggest thing. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It'd be great if we could, but that's not the direction we wanted to take.
Not that we're not saying that the money that we've spent on this is, it's not cheap,
It's not cheap.
right?
No.
So we have spent quite a bit of money, but I guess what Grant's saying is you don't have to go out and spend 120,000 on the newest anything van. You can get something that's older, and maybe you don't get a Bushtracker and you buy something that, whatever brand it is, and you buy that van for 25,000, and then you spend another 15,000 to get it to what you want it to be. That's perfectly fine as well.
But I think on that, there's a lot of questions that you need to ask yourself first.
Yeah.
Where do you want to go? How you want to live in it? That'll lead you to a sort of a type of van or a brand of van. So
And
where you want to go, it might be off-road. If where you want to go is off-road, then you'll get
what type of camping do you like?
Yeah.
But also, like, how long are you going to travel for? So
Yeah.
we had these conversations ourselves. We had a camper trailer, which was perfect for traveling for like 6 weeks at a time. Do I want to travel for 6 months in a camper trailer? No.
It can
I
be
don't.
done.
Can be done, but do I want to do it? Not really.
Not really.
If I was going to travel just for 6 months or just for 1 year, a hybrid. That's probably where I would go. Absolutely perfect. Don't mind having a bit of setup. If I'm traveling past a year and, you know, we are intending to travel for a couple of years, I don't want to set up my bed every night, right? I don't really want to, I want to have a sitting area inside. Plus I want to have a kitchen area inside as well, because some days you just want to hang out inside all day, or you want to, it's too windy, so you just make your coffee inside, and you don't want to have just the external kitchen. You want to have some options that can work for you.
And there's only so many things you can take with you with a smaller type setup. So with a camper trailer, there's only so much stuff you can take, and you can't store it inside the van. The same can be said about the hybrids. If you're going to be traveling long term, more than 12 months, I think for sure you would want to take a few more mod cons and creature comforts. So you know, a van in my mind is a no-brainer.
And then just think about how you cook at home, because how you cook at home is probably how you're going to cook on the road.
Yeah, 100%.
So if you use your oven at home, you will probably use an oven in your van, because that's just the way you cook. So you will cook and use those things. If, for example, this van that we bought secondhand didn't have an oven, I would then buy a air fryer to use as my oven. But it came with an oven and I used my oven, so I'm happy.
You'd get around it if it didn't have it. Like, if you had the choice, you'd probably go for
We would definitely, because we cook. But if you don't cook very often, then don't get that. So really think about how you live at home and how you would want to live on the road, and how long you're going to travel for, and have a look around, and then really think about different layouts. So go out and go to all the different showrooms and sit in every single layout that you can see and think, would this work for me? if I've got to pull my computer out, where would I sit and do this? If I like to read a book, where would I read my book? If I, just think about what the things are that you do at home and how you would do those things living in the van.
Even hire a van.
Yeah. What's that site? Campify? I think it's called Campify. You can go on there and hire a hybrid or a pop top or a camper trailer or a full caravan. And
full caravan at different lengths too. Like you don't know, you might be the type to tow a 24, 23 footer around, and that's fine. Like, more power to you.
Yeah.
But try it first to see if that's what you want to do. You might be keen to just settle on an 18-foot dual axle.
Or a 12-foot single axle. But yeah, get whatever suits you.
Yeah, and then also weigh up your personal situation. Like, you'll know how much you want to spend, you'll have to spend and whatnot, and just work out the best way for you to do it. What I'm trying to say is just find that way and come out and do it, because it is the best life.
It's
best thing we've ever done, right?
Definitely. It beats working. I mean, so we travel and we stop and work for a couple of months and then travel again. So it beats working full time. So we still do some work. We do still work. But definitely,
if this is what you want to do, don't talk about it. Just do it.
Yeah, find a van that suits you and talk to everybody and see everything and test everything and find something that suits you and go out and do it. But thank you. If you've stayed around for this long.
Yeah. And we'll answer any questions that you might have too. So please don't be shy. Feel free to ask us any question you can think of about the van, about how we live in it, what we've done to it, what we plan to do to it.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to hearing from you.
Thank you.
Thanks
for
guys.
watching.
See ya.